But that's not what a loser is. Losers, they still have friends or somebody
You
to
would
talk
know.
to.
Wait, what'd you say?
Wait, what was that? I
What'd
wouldn't
you
know.
say?
Would I know?
Jeff, no hostility in this courtroom.
So this Peter is the best Peter of all the three Peters that we've seen.
What? In this movie?
Better than Tom Holland.
From this movie?
To this day, I love that scene. I love that song.
You know, it's hard to argue with somebody who just has bad taste.
Oh,
like when something is bad and you just say it's good, I liked it.
welcome to the Slate Podcast, where we talk about movies, music, and media. I'm Jeff, and I'm here with George and Daryl.
What's going on?
It's the boys.
Yes. And today we're doing something a little different. Today we are analyzing a case. And this is the case for The Amazing Spider-Man 1, the first one, which
the one
came
from
out
2012.
12. This year we are celebrating 10 years, which is insane. It's been 10 years already.
Truly.
And so what we're going to do is pretty much Dario hates it. He's a hater. He doesn't like this movie. He thinks it sucks.
Okay.
He has no love.
Your energy. Bring it down. Okay.
I mean,
Hold on, kids.
okay, what I meant to say, Dario is going to bring his case to why this is not a good movie.
Yeah.
Me, I, on the other hand, will try to push back and say to his face, bring the truth for the people, by the people, that this is
Okay.
a
So
good
passionate.
movie.
I see why you wanted
This
to
is a
start
good
now.
movie.
I see why you wanted to start. You just wanted to get the head start on the chat.
Yeah,
What?
you honestly
Listen,
did.
Wait,
listen,
hold up.
buddy.
What? Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
You wanted to
Dario.
make the case. You wanted to set it up in a way to make you like.
I don't know.
This
I have
good.
no idea
Order.
what you're. I have no
Order.
idea what you're saying.
Order.
And so,
This is starting. This
And
is starting
George.
combative.
look, all I'm trying to say is this was a good movie, and I will tell you why.
And I will tell you why.
And George will.
Oh no, and I will tell you why this movie is overhyped. It is just not well made, and people like
Wow.
it too much because of Andrew Garfield, which is he's good. Okay, he's a good Spider-Man. There's no denying that. But the movie, I didn't see it when it came out, and when I went back and rewatched it, boy, was I disappointed. That's what I'm talking.
Objection, speculation.
Jeff, you don't know.
Overruled.
You know what that means?
Oh, completely overruled because that wasn't even it, Chief.
I don't.
Okay.
Dario's point was correct. Like he was right in that sense.
Yes.
And George would be like the middleman. He will kind of push back. You know, he'll try to make us look stupid with the points that we try to make.
Good luck.
Yeah,
And he's somewhere in the middle too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
this should be a fun one. So yeah, I guess let's just get to it. The Amazing Spider-Man. So who starts? Do you start, or should I start?
All right, flip a coin. Actually, you know what? I'm a flip a coin, and we're gonna see who starts first. All right. For the record, I actually enjoyed this movie when it came out in 2012, and I just want to say that but may the best man win. I don't have a coin with me, so I have $1, and I'm just gonna
Flip the dollar.
I'll take that.
I'm gonna flip the dollar.
I could use it.
I call that.
Those are
call
that's
the
$5.
backside.
George, you know we're doing video. You can't lie. Is that $1?
Yeah. Sorry, $5. This is $5. That Jeff
Numbers are hard. Yeah.
was so gracious to hand me before the trial.
Hey.
Convenient.
Yes.
Is that how we're doing it?
Yes.
So yeah. So here we go. I'm gonna throw it, and all right.
Wait.
Dario pick Abraham Lincoln, and Jeff you pick the Capitol.
The backside.
What do you mean you
Always
pick?
the
You just picked
backside.
it for us. So I have,
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Wait. And-
All right.
What is it?
Jeff, you get to start us off today. So
This is rigged.
I start.
This is rigged.
well, technically it is because Jeff gave me $5.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to. Shut up. You're not supposed to say
You guys
that.
we're in different states, so I don't believe that. Unless he sent it to you through Cash App or something, and then you went through the trouble to take it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Are you following me? Are you trying to rig this election? Get out of here.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
All right, so we're gonna start.
Fake news.
Fake news. All right, so we're gonna
Okay.
start off strong here, Jeff. You're gonna make the case. You are making the case of the Amazing Spider-Man being a good movie. Daryl, you're making
Yes.
the case of Amazing Spider-Man being a bad movie. I will hear out your says, and be honest. Don't play dirty. No poking in the eyes. No punching in the groin. You know,
Okay.
things like that. And if I say order, then shut up. You know, because I'm the boss here.
We'll see how it goes. Okay.
We'll see how it goes. All right, men, prepare your engines and prepare your engines.
Okay, you're hyping it
I
up
love
too much.
this.
Let's just go.
yeah.
I love this.
3,
Okay.
2, 1. Jeff, you're on the stand.
Wait, how long does it get? You should like set a timer.
Daryl, are you interrupting Jeff's time?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
for
give me
that.
3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes each.
I don't need 3 minutes.
Okay.
Well, maybe we should start. Maybe we should
2
start.
minute
on
gang. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Wait, what'd you say?
Anyways, nothing. Okay, so let me set the stage for you. It's 2012, right? We are around 3 to 4 years from the last movie coming out. A lot of things went down. Sony is in chaos. Sony is afraid. Sony is desperate. They need to make something new. And a legacy trilogy just ended. Around this time, The Dark Knight Rises and The Avengers are coming out. 2 different spectrums. 2 different influences that you can pull from. At this time, the superhero genre wasn't established yet. It was still building up. It's not like now. It's not like as obvious as now. Am I making sense? So the pressure on Sony and this franchise was big. All eyes was on Spider-Man. What are they gonna do next? A lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure for the studio, the actors, the director. We have some director that nobody knew that made some cute movies, little movies, and he's stepping up to make one of the biggest movies in 2012 about one of the biggest characters on Earth.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I just
And want to say,
Daryl,
with all
hey,
that,
Daryl,
with all
playing
that,
dirty.
listen. It's my turn still, right? It's still my turn. Okay. With all that being said, with all that being said, I can sit here today and say, with all that pressure, with all those eyes on Sony, Sony delivered with a good Spider-Man movie.
Okay. All right.
Is that your discussion?
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
That's my opening.
Okay. That's his
all
opening.
right. Strong opening. I've never heard Jeff speak like that about anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. This is love. Okay, I get it.
3 Red
All
Bulls,
right,
baby.
Daryl. Daryl, you are up to the stand.
Yes.
Give us your general
Okay.
consensus.
So this is gonna be easier than I thought because Jeff just opened with not even talking about the movie yet. He didn't say a single thing about the movie. All about like, oh, let's
It's
think.
just my opening statement.
no,
It's just my opening
Jeff,
statement.
What are you doing?
Jeff, it
It's
is
just my
Daryl's
opening
turn.
statement.
Hey, my turn.
Okay.
Yep.
You set the tone, Jeff. Okay, so
Order. Daryl's turn.
Thank you. He didn't say a single thing about the actual
Don't thank
movie.
me.
Yes, I get it. There's a lot of times there's a lot of pressure for movies, and you can say the same thing about Iron Man. Iron Man came out. It was really the first MCU movie, and they had pressure, and they had a new actor. You know,
Not the same.
listen, hey, my turn.
Jeff. If you interrupt again, I'm gonna have to suplex you out of here.
So.
Damn you.
So pressure your regular audience that goes to the movie theaters to watch a movie. They don't know any of that. They just want to watch a good movie, and a movie is supposed to deliver. So I'll tell you why this movie didn't deliver. It has no personality. the way it's filmed, the cinematography is kind of lazy, and Peter is not a likable character. Now I get that they're going for a more somber, serious movie, but you can do that without being so like depressing. And then, for example, you have the movie that Andrew Garfield was just before this movie, The Social Network, one of my favorite movies. It is very slow paced, it's serious, the cinematography is amazing, but they have the characters, the actors made that movie. So I don't know how you have such a great actor like Andrew Garfield and then you don't give Peter any personality. I mean, there's so many like scenes that no one talks. It's just like we're looking at Peter doing something. He's looking through the case. He's doing research, and it's like, what's going on? Why don't people talk? Like, let's give this movie a little personality, And I could keep talking, but that's my argument. This movie has no personality. Like, how do you take a character like Spider-Man that's so lovable and people love it already, and then you just make it so depressing? Like, if that is how you want to go with, you can do that in a good way. I think they went in a bad way, and then we can go into more specific in characters. But Peter and Gwen, that didn't work for me. I mean, there's just so many things that just didn't work.
Okay,
you're done. You're done.
Not for now.
Daria has made. His case.
I don't know where to give you pushback first. I guess I'll start with you saying that this movie has no personality.
Correct.
What do you mean this movie has no personality? This movie, it's supposed to be a dark, emo Spider-Man movie. That's the theme. That's the personality. It's not supposed to be all happy, shiny all the time like Spider-Man, like Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, that's why I gave the example
ones.
of The Social Network. That movie's also not happy. It's kind of depressing, but it has so much personality. People talk.
You're talking about two different genres. This is a whole different thing.
It's kind of the same genre.
No, it's not. Listen, that's why I set the ground in my opening. I said, what are the two biggest superhero movies at the time? We have Avengers and we have The Dark Knight Rises. Two different spectrums. Spider-Man could have gone the more shiny, sunny level of Avengers type, but they decided to take the Dark Knight Rises influence. That's what Spider-Man 1 is. If you say that movie has no personality, it's like saying that Dark Knight Rises, those dark movies have no personality.
The Dark Knight Rises actually did right. Like that's what I'm saying. You can do somber and like serious, but still give it personality. Like, what does Peter do in this movie in like the first half, other than like basically not say a word? And every scene is like so awkward and weird. And it's like he meets Gwen and he's like, "What's your name,
Dario,
Peter?
Have you ever met an awkward kid in high school?
But, okay,
one of those
so
weird
here's my
kids.
point
Have
about
you ever
that.
met one of those weird kids? That's Peter. They don't talk. They might do something bad. Some of them. I was gonna make a bad joke. Those weird kids, they're like that. That's what Peter is supposed to do.
No, he's not a weird
He's not
kid.
supposed to be.
He's a freaking skateboarder.
He's an awkward teenager.
Yeah, but he doesn't look awkward. He's like he's a thing, like cool. He thinks he's cool skateboarding in the hallway.
He has to be two-dimensional. He can't have layers. He can't be an awkward kid.
Layers?
But also,
he has no layers. That's my point.
Okay, so he can't be an awkward, shy teenager that also skates and is handsome. But he can't have layers.
But that's not layers. He has no layers. That's what I mean.
He has layers. That's multiple layers.
What layer?
He's an awkward teen that also happens to look good.
That's not a layer.
And skates.
That's like that's like so thin.
Order.
And he's super smart. He built freaking web shooters.
Yeah, like what? That came out of
nowhere.
What
do you mean he has no personality?
Hold on.
He has no personality.
Wait, what? It's from the comics. That's straight from the comics.
Judge is raising his hand.
Go.
Hold on. So I would like to appoint a pushback here, and I don't know who can take it for what, but what Jeff says about layers, it could also mean he's kind of on a point with that, because being an awkward teen is one thing, but that's a cliche if you leave it on its own. If you add that he skateboards, that he's good looking, and that he's really smart, and that he has family issues with his dad and things like that, and then he's awkward around girls, Gwen specifically, and then he's getting in trouble in school. There's multiple things behind that. It doesn't necessarily push him in a way, but it at least gives us something to build around Peter, and that is kind of how we see him in a way. So
I say something to that about layers and what I mean? He has no personality. Like, he has no friends. He talks to no one. Like, he talks like to Gwen like a little bit. But he goes to school, he's in class, he kind of talks to Gwen a little bit, and then he goes home.
He's a loser. Yes.
Yeah, okay, but like, there's nothing in it. That's what I mean.
But it's supposed to be like that. Peter Parker, before he became Spider-Man, was a loser.
But that's not what a loser is. Losers, they still have friends or somebody to talk to.
Wait, what'd you say?
Wait, what was that? I wouldn't know. Would I know?
Jeff, no hostility in this courtroom.
Sorry, you got me heated.
I didn't even say anything yet. So
I'm not playing games.
So he has no personality. Like, what does he do? He does nothing in the beginning. He like barely talks. That's what I mean. And I have a problem with the lack of dialogue in this, and also awkward dialogue. But there's like, he barely says anything. There's so many montages of him doing boring stuff. Like he goes through the
what?
When he's looking through the papers, and then we see him doing research, and then like there's so many montages. 30 minutes in, and there's like 3 montages, and he's like, what's going on?
Okay, something on that. Okay, I'm gonna, before I move on to all the positives I have, I'm gonna give you all the negatives, because there are negatives, and we might find common ground. Here are 4 things that I would cut out from this movie. I would cut out.
The whole movie?
I'm gonna jump around a little bit.
I would cut out the whole movie.
I'm gonna. Oh yeah. Cut out your own face.
Oh my God. Jeff's out for blood today.
Listen, I would cut out that gym scene, the scene in the gymnasium. Cut that out.
Wait, what scene is that? What do you mean?
When he's playing around with Flash.
Okay.
I would cut that scene. I would cut everything that has to do with the parents that never went anywhere.
Right.
Cut that out. Cut that scene where New York helped them, or do it in a different way, help them swing towards Oscorp.
That was so fabricated. That made no sense.
No, yeah, we have common ground in there. And cut everything that has to do with him going after the killer.
Okay.
And now we'll get into my last point about Lizard, the villain, the Lizard.
Yeah, we should talk about that too.
We'll get there. Now, after cutting all those things, or I guess let's stay in the negatives. Do we have common ground there, right? Did you agree with everything I just said?
Yeah, of course. Well, because I would cut the whole thing.
Wow.
Can I add
so whatever you say, cut. I'm like, yes, cut it all.
Okay. Okay, George.
List those things again. I actually have insight on.
Yeah, he said the
I
gym.
would cut out
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
the gym scene. I would cut everything with the parents. Even though at the time I was excited about that because it was new and it was never done. Looking back, they never went anywhere with that. So
well, that was a setup for the second movie, I would say.
Which never went anywhere.
Hold on.
So I would cut that. Yeah.
Well, no. Okay. So the gym scene, I wouldn't cut it. I would make it shorter because this is directly influenced from the Ultimate Comics, right? This is what this franchise is about. Yeah. So in the gym scene in the comics, there's kind of a similar scene, and he actually joins a basketball league and stuff like that.
It's better. In the comics, it's better.
It's better, but it also it adds to the personality of him, like being a little more like high schoolish and things like that. But if we're going for a 2-hour movie, which we can't copy that whole thing that happened in the comic, I would just shorten it to the point where he embarrassed him enough to get in trouble, and he could break the backboard and things like that, and he can get in trouble with Uncle Ben, and that leads to the whole Aunt May thing. I think that the point of that scene is fine, but I would just shorten it, because the whole thing that he's messing with him, I'm like, all right, you gotta keep moving.
I agree with that.
What was the next one? The parents?
Cut everything out with the parents.
So, at the time, and Jeff, this is part of your case, we're looking at this movie for the time that it is in.
No,
right?
No,
So
we're not. We're looking at it as a movie. I reject that
That
statement.
could be a variable. That could be a variable.
No, it's a movie.
It could. No. Listen. This is part of Jeff's case where he's seeing it as is in 2012.
Right.
Right.
I reject that though.
So, all right, that's on the record. Show your face.
Thank you. Did you write it down? I didn't see you write it down.
No,
Put
I
it on
didn't.
the record.
I'll remember. I'll remember what I give a damn. So, seeing it in 2012, I would actually keep the parents' storyline because let's say, hold on, let's say that it does actually succeed and set up something for the second movie. The thing that it does in this movie is that it motivates him to go looking for things instead of just being static, you know. And
there's so many things you could have done, and I have things to mention to replace all those slots.
So can I mention
That's
something
fine.
to that?
Yeah.
The gym scene and all those scenes. That's part of making him not likable. Like as the protagonist, we're supposed to root for him, even when he does bad things. I get it that they're trying to paint him like as an angsty teenager, and he's making all these mistakes. But he's just a jerk. I mean, let's be honest. He does so many bad things. He breaks so many rules.
You're too soft.
And he just breaks so many things too. Let's talk about how he's discovering his powers, and he breaks everything. Like how many times can you go for that joke or that aspect of like, okay, we get it. He's strong. He's too strong. He just keeps breaking everything in his path. And he's not a likable.
I thought it was funny.
I'm not rooting for him because I don't relate to him at all. He's being a jerk. And I don't think that things that happen so weird. Like even him like going to the science to meet the doctor, to meet the scientist Curtis Connors. That he goes there and he basically sneaks in, takes somebody's spot, then he leaves the group and he just starts sneaking around. And I'm like, what is he looking for? Like nothing is set up. Everything is so like it's so forced. I feel like, and, like there's no story.
You think things are happening?
Yeah, and they keep bringing stuff back. Sorry, real quick. They keep bringing stuff back because they have no like story. Like what I'm saying, like those scenes that you're talking about where that he is like discovering his powers. It's like let's just have a quick scene of him like he has powers. Let's move on. Like why do you have to keep harping on him being super strong? That's just one case.
They only did that once when he first got the powers.
No, he breaks a bunch
in
of
that
things.
bathroom scene.
Yeah, he breaks the bathroom, he breaks the keyboard, he breaks the door, he breaks the basketball hoop. Like he breaks a bunch of things.
I did say to cut the gym scene, so I agree with that.
Oh yeah, but you say that, but it's like you can't cut it because it is in the movie, so we have to take it into account. So he breaks.
Okay.
Well, you're changing the movie. I'm not accepting that.
No,
like,
these are my
in the
negatives,
movie.
but these are things I don't like. Those are my negatives.
Right, but one of my negatives is that he's breaking everything. Like they keep harping on him being super strong. He breaks the basketball hoop. He breaks the door. He breaks the keyboard. He breaks the bathroom. I mean, what else does he break?
What's the real issue there? Because there are plenty of movies where superheroes mess up for like the first half
it keeps coming back.
of the movie.
It keeps coming back. Like we get it. He's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the train scene, he beats everybody up, and it's like, okay, he's super strong. Then the bathroom scene, he breaks everything in the bathroom. Okay, we get it. He's super strong. Then the keyboards, he detaches the keyboard. Okay, he's super strong. Then he slams the door when he's arguing. Boom, breaks it. Okay. Then the basketball hoop. Boom, he breaks it again. Like
that's acceptable for an origin movie. If they would have kept doing that in the sequel, that's too much.
Well, let's take Spider-Man from 2001. He wakes up.
We're not talking about that movie right
because
Your Honor, he's
no. Hold on, but I'm bringing it as an example of how to do it right.
Dario has a point because it is a Spider-Man movie.
It is a Spider-Man movie. It's an origin movie, and I'm showing you how to do it right because they did it right. They show him one time. He looks like he's in the mirror, and then he like catches the things on the tray, and that's all he does. And when he fights Flash, and that's it. We get it. He's super strong. He's
there's other
powers.
times where there's other things too, like when things keep getting stuck to his hands.
Right, that's in the same scene in the beginning. Yeah, but then that's towards the beginning when he's discovering his powers. But then they don't keep doing that all throughout the movie. Like they kind of
I don't
get
think
his
they did
powers going. Yeah. Well, it doesn't feel. That's what I mean when I watch. It's like there's these things that keep happening again. Like he keeps breaking stuff, and then he keeps being a jerk. He keeps not remembering to bring stuff from home. Like for Aunt May, it's like, okay, we get it. He's very forgetful. He breaks all the rules. He breaks into the lab. He breaks. He breaks every, I don't know. He just doesn't. It's not likable to me. Like he just keeps breaking every rule possible, and then Uncle Ben dies, and then he goes into this rampage that he's catching criminals. But what's his motive? He's not very pure.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. So you didn't like Peter at that time, right?
Yeah, I didn't like him. Like basically
when he was doing those things.
Of course.
Okay. Good. That's what you're supposed to feel, because if you don't realize, there's a specific moment where he goes from you're not supposed to be rooting too much for him, not likable, to the moment when he becomes Spider-Man, and that's the bridge scene. Before that, I don't think you're right. You're not supposed to be like, oh, he's such a good guy. He's such a great guy. He made mistakes, but it was after the moment that he became Spider-Man that was like,
but it was
now we're rolling.
I get what you're saying.
The movie made you feel those things, and that's what you're supposed to feel.
Okay, but let me come back to that. It's saying, okay, just because that's how I'm supposed to feel. First, I didn't like the way they did it, and just because they meant for that to happen doesn't mean that it's good. I didn't like it. I didn't like not liking the main character for like the majority of the movie, and even at the end, he doesn't do anything to like win me over. Like he's a terrible person.
He saved the whole city.
Okay,
what you mean?
Okay, wow. I mean, it is a superhero
movie. You want to
movie.
be a lizard? Do you want to be a lizard? Tell me.
I mean, it's a superhero movie. That's the bare minimum.
He saved you from being a lizard.
That's the bare minimum.
Hold on.
Ungrateful.
I would like. So Dario,
did you get my point about it? Just like
yes.
That's what they're trying to do.
I get you.
And just because they went in that direction doesn't mean that it was the right direction. Just because that's what they're trying to make me feel doesn't make it good.
So, I would like Dario to present an example as to how would you make him more suitable. Like if you made it, how would you make that transition more suitable?
I don't know.
Okay, he has no argument. So can I tell you why he's wrong for trashing Peter?
Jeff, tell me how he's wrong.
Here's the thing, Dario. Is that even your name?
Sometimes. Not to you, not today.
I didn't expect that.
You may refer to me as Mr. D.
Woo!
Okay,
Big
Mr. D.
Big D in the house.
Peter Parker is supposed to be, so sometimes, a jerk. When he was young, you see it in the new trilogy. He's always making mistakes and doing dumb decisions.
But he's a good person at heart.
It's supposed to be okay, and you're saying that this Peter isn't?
No.
Because this Peter,
he's not.
Like all of the Spider-Mans, he made a decision to be selfless, and that's why he is Spider-Man. He does what he does.
But
at the bottom of everything, he makes that decision that every Spider-Man story tells.
Yeah, but
which
he's
is he
supposed
becomes,
to be
like I said, after he saved that kid in the bridge, that's when he realized, the whole with powers and responsibility thing. And I can argue that this Peter is the best Peter of all the three Peters that we've seen.
What? In this movie?
Better than Tom Holland.
From this movie.
Including this movie.
You're
including this movie.
What do you mean? What do you mean including this movie?
Better than Toby and Tom Holland.
This Peter is
overall,
better than Toby from this movie.
This Peter
from this movie
is better than Toby's Peter and Tom Holland's
How is he better?
Peter.
Like Toby is such a
because he.
Okay,
first
hold
of all, Andrew. Okay, hold on. No. It's my turn.
No, but hold on. Let me say
right?
something. Because he's not. How is he? Again, like I said, he's so boring in this movie. Tobey Maguire, okay, he made mistakes in the first movie, but you can tell that he's a good kid. He played it like he's a good kid because that's what Spider-Man's supposed to be. A good kid who maybe makes some mistakes because he's young, but still at heart, he's a good person. That's why he becomes Spider-Man. This Andrew Maguire...
So is Andrew's Peter.
No, not at the beginning. He's just jerk breaking rules.
Just like Peter in the old movie.
No, he's not.
Hold on. Hold on. I would like to lay a foundation, and this is not for either side, but basically how Peter becomes Spider-Man overall in comics, in the source material and everything, is that he makes a bunch of mistakes until, even when getting his powers, until Uncle Ben tells him the whole great power comes great responsibility thing,
and dies,
and then he has to die.
We can talk about his death scene in this movie. Terrible.
Hold on. And then in conjunction with that, he takes that, and that is his motivation to become a better person.
Selfless and be selfless.
Selfless. So with that foundation, this is how it should be presented. So go ahead.
And it was. Look, Andrew is one of the best actors right now. He came off, like you said, that dope performance and
the Social Network, and then they wasted him.
Social
in
Network.
This movie.
Yeah. No. Shut up.
You just agreed. Thank you. Game over.
He brought everything to this role.
What did he bring other than that one scene where he cries? I was like, okay, that's good.
No.
He didn't bring anything.
You tell me how easy it is to convince people that you're this weird, awkward teenager.
You want to talk about weird and awkward?
Bro, because again... See, he's not letting me talk.
Look at Tom Holland. Because that's what I wanted to say about weird and awkward.
He's not letting me finish.
But I haven't even said anything in like 2 minutes.
You did. You've made a bunch of good points. So Jeff, finish your thing, and then Dario will go.
You can see it, but the way... I'm not a film guy, so it's hard for me to explain these things.
Yeah,
but
clearly.
His performance... Wow. Shut up. His performance, you see it in his facial expressions. Obviously, it's up to the writers in the end, but with what he was given and how he was directed, I think, and it improves in the second movie, but I think he is the best Peter. Just the way he acts and the way he reacts to things. And he's movie. Like funny at times with the, being a smartass sometimes.
Okay, that's another point. When is he a smartass? There's one scene.
With the guy with the small knife thing.
Yep. Which came off like a total jerk. Like he's
You're just soft.
Listen, there's a right way to do something.
He was joking.
Okay, listen. Okay, so he's supposed to be that scene, and I heard someone say this.
Bro, you're gonna tell me that wasn't funny
right now? Who's interrupting? Like I just tried to say something.
Jeff.
No, but listen. You're gonna tell me that it wasn't funny when the guy kept opening the door and he kept shouting it?
It wasn't.
Come on, where's your sense of humor?
All right, Daryl's turn.
Thank you. So that scene, it feels like it's so out of place because he's being, again, not even talking much, being so depressed and so serious, and then out of nowhere with this, he gets the suit. By the way, we haven't even talked about the suit.
We'll get there.
But then he gets in the suit, right? And I get that. I wish they would have more like projected that. Yeah, he gets confidence, right? When he gets, I mean, that's the point of the suit, and then he being like so making jokes and stuff because he feels like a superhero. So he's looking for the killer. He doesn't have the suit. He's stopping all these bad guys. Then he gets the nice suit, and then he's like making fun of this guy, and then you never, not before, not after that, he ever does that again. It's like they just put it in there as in like, hey, look, Peter's supposed to.
He does that with the lizard. The lizard.
He's supposed to be
the
like
fight in the school.
Can I finish my point?
He does that.
Hold
on.
Yeah,
finish.
So he's supposed.
But don't say he never does it again. Don't say that he never does it again.
Jeff, let Dario finish. Or I'm suplexing you, boy. I'm flipping your house.
Yeah, can you suplex him real quick? So he's supposed to be this joking, and they put that scene like, look, Spider-Man makes jokes, and that's it. Does he make joke with the lizard? Maybe once or twice in that fight in the school, but it's like so out of place. It doesn't go with the movie they're making, and he's like so little.
What do you mean it feels out of place? He always does that.
Who? When?
Peter.
Peter what? Like
he's always what's the word? Quippy?
In this movie?
Not a lot, but he does it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They're like, oh, Spider-Man's supposed to do that. Let's include a scene or two when he does it, and then we're done with that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be all over the movie.
But it feels so out of place. It feels like they just put it in there as in like, look, he's supposed. I mean, that's not the character that they built, and that's not Peter.
It's not out of place because that's what he does in the comics.
Well, again, you're saying that's what he does, and that's what I mean. They put it in there as in like, hey, Jeff is gonna want Peter to act this way, so let's put a scene where he's making joke with the thief, and then maybe a little bit more with the lizard, and then that's it. Like it was just put in play. It was put there as like an obligation. But again, it doesn't feel natural. Like every other time, he's not that type of guy. Without the suit, he's just a guy who barely talks. And then in every other action scene, he barely talks. And then they just put like a
guy who
two.
barely talks. A guy who barely talks. Okay, let me say this.
But do you get that, George? Does that make sense? Like, does that?
Yes, I hear him. Mm-hmm.
I kind of get where you're coming from, but you're kind of wrong. Like, he's not just a guy that barely talks. He talks in this movie, and
to who?
He has good emotional scenes. Oh, let me transition. He has great chemistry with Emma Stone, Gwen, which, by the way, that's probably the strongest things from these two movies. It's their relationship, them two, because it also, and I'm not gonna take credit for this point, but I've seen it being said before, that it's because the director, that's what he's known for making good movies about just relationships and people. So that's why I think it's true that Peter and Gwen are like the best things about these two movies. They even dated in real life, so I guess that even makes it better for the movie.
I didn't see that chemistry in this movie at all. Like
what?
Like, and this is what I mean. Like when I was bringing up,
I like how Jeff put up a point, and then Dario's always like, "Yeah, hell no."
It's just not good. Listen, that scene.
What you mean?
That scene.
What scene? What scene?
Dario's turn.
The scene that they're talking in the hallway, like Ben comes to school.
That was cute. That was cute.
Awkward in a cringy way. And hold on, Jeff.
It was awkward. Let me
finish my point.
Jeff, let Dario finish his point before he
There is good awkward and there is bad awkward.
There is no good awkward.
Listen.
Jeff Word.
Sorry.
If you interrupt this brown man again, I'm going to sue you, you son of a bitch.
Tom and Zendaya, they are cute awkward. They are like, oh, look how adorable. Like, they actually do it right. Gwen and Peter in this movie is just like he can barely say words, and then it's just I don't know how to describe it. I didn't think they did it the right way. It wasn't the right awkward. It was just like cringy, bad awkward. Tom and Zendaya, that's like, oh, look at them. Oh, they're so cute.
I would like to make a so from here on, you are able to use the other Spider-Man movies not to compare it as a movie, but to compare details in it that work better than this movie.
Yeah, because
or are not as good as this movie.
Yeah, because they are trying. My point is that they are trying to do the Spider-Man things, and they're just not doing it right. There's the awkward stuff. Look at Zendaya and Tom; they did it right. There's the him being a good person at heart. Look at Tobey Maguire, a good person at heart. You can tell that from the beginning, just because Tobey Maguire was he was just like a nice person. Like, you can tell. And then even when Uncle Ben dies and he goes in that rampage, he realizes right away that he made a mistake, and like you can sympathize with that. But the way they did it with Andrew was not at all. Like, he's just such a jerk from the beginning. It's like, why is this guy Spider-Man? Makes no sense.
In the dictionary, the word awkward means causing or feeling embarrassment or inconvenience, not smooth or graceful. Dario, what about that is supposed to feel good? There is no good awkward. It's supposed to feel awkward. Those scenes are supposed to make you feel that. There is no good awkward.
I just
Tom
described
Holland and Zendaya weren't being awkward because they look cute together. They weren't being weird. This was weird and awkward, and I freaking like it. There's
it's
no supposed
other
to make
point.
You feel like
there's
that.
no argument to make there other than that either you like it or you don't, and that was the wrong type of
I think they
awkward.
did it fine.
I thought they did it terribly, and I thought Gwen and Zendaya and Tom, they have that awkwardness especially in the second movie in Far From Home, Like when he asks her
Okay, I'll
out,
give you that.
and then they're going out, and
Yeah.
like that little awkward kiss they
Yeah.
have at the end. Like
Yeah.
like you can tell they have chemistry. Gwen he defends the little kid in the bully, which by the way, what a typical bully thing to do. And he defends her.
All three movies have done that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They're trying to do the Spider-Man thing, and they just don't do it right. Like you have the typical bully. Then Andrew steps in there. Hey, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't make him eat that things. And then Flash punches him twice. Oh, wow, you want more? And then he gets out of there. And then Gwen in class, she's like, oh, you should go to the nurse. And he's like, oh, okay. What's your name? Peter, you don't know my name? It's like, that was just one type of awkward for me. I don't feel any chemistry between them. It was so forced.
So you're saying that in the whole movie, they didn't have any chemistry?
Maybe towards the end, but not in the beginning. For sure.
Okay. At least, okay.
And I don't know
I
how to
would
say
say
other
that
than it didn't work.
Their relationship is one of the pillars.
I'll give you that
for
the
this
best part of the
franchise.
movie is probably her.
Them too.
Well, her.
Okay. I do think they are the strongest parts of these movies. This movie especially. I gave you all my negatives, so I guess stop me if I'm wrong.
I want to go through my
I already
notes.
talk
too.
about. Yeah. So stop me if I'm wrong. I already mentioned that Andrew and Emma Stone are great in this movie. I think it was a good contemporary reimagining of Spider-Man. They actually did it right with the web shooter. Oh, by the way, since you say that Peter has no personality or anything, he's so smart. He freaking built a web shooter, and later on he built a suit, a practical suit, a suit that it makes sense the way it looks that a teenager will build. Not like the other
Disagree.
movies where
How is that practical?
It's so not realistic that Tobey Maguire will make such a good suit.
Well, it's the same thing.
I think
Tobey Maguire's
no,
suit
it's not.
and the way,
No,
the
it's
way he
not.
makes
That suit. You know, the suit from the first movies looks like a Sony corporation made that suit. That's what that looks like. It doesn't look like a teenager made that suit.
What about that suit makes it
This
look...
suit.
Yeah, what is it? What is it about
This
that
suit
looks so...
doesn't look perfect.
Yes,
That's
it does.
The point. It looks like a teenager. It looks like a teenager made it.
No, it doesn't. It
Not like
looks
the
like a
first movies.
professional company made it.
The freaking lenses are from sunglasses.
Okay, great. You
in
have
the
a little
first
reason.
movies, everything looks so perfect.
What about
and
the
great.
design of the whole suit? Like...
He's also smart. It's not like it's gonna be completely trash. He's a smart kid.
Jeff,
but he doesn't have $1 million.
It does not look like a teenager made it. It looks like a company,
I cannot.
a graphic designer made it.
I don't agree with that.
It looks like a
I don't
graphic
agree with
design
that.
designed it, and it looks like a company came out of a factory. Because he's well
No,
made.
the first movies.
It looks well made.
No.
What are you talking about? Like well put together.
I will give you.
But it looks thorough.
I will give you that Tom Holland has the most realistic suit for a teenager that made it.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
That's true.
Like the hoodie,
That's true.
hoodie suit that Tom Holland wears in the first one. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that-
just like
yes.
clothes. This was like made.
But so does this one because it looks weird. It's not like perfect like the first
Yes,
trilogy.
it is, Jeff. What about it? Doesn't look perfect?
No, it's not.
It is well.
It's just spandex. He was looking at spandex.
You can say
suits.
the same thing about the Tobey
He's
Maguire.
wearing. You can clearly see that he's wearing sneakers.
Okay, they put two items in there that you would find, but how did he sew that together? How did he sew it together?
You think
He's a professional
there's
sewer.
YouTube?
He
You could have watched a YouTube video
they
on
didn't
how to
show him
do
watching
it.
YouTube.
How to saw.
No, you wouldn't. That looks
Do
professional.
they have to show you everything? Do you also want to see him go to the
But
bathroom?
you're saying that it looks like a teenager would
What the
make
hell?
it. It looks like a professional sewer company made it. What are you talking about?
The first trilogy looks like Sony made it, like a corporation made it.
It's the same.
Not this one.
Point, you're saying that it looks. Your reason is
Okay,
like.
we're not agreeing on this point.
Yeah, we're just not gonna agree with that because it looks like a company made it. It doesn't look like a
But hold
teenager
on,
made
hold
it.
on.
George, what do you
Hold on,
think?
So, how dare you turn this on me? I volunteered. First of all, I want to hear why Dario thinks it does not look handmade.
It doesn't look handmade because how did he get those spandex? How did he put it? How did he sew it together? How did he
eBay?
graphic design that? Like so it fits him perfectly, and the design in the back like is so well made in the fact that it's like a company would make it. Like it has.
They
the
showed
graphic.
you him using that press machine.
They did
what
the
else do
same
you
thing
want?
with Tobey Maguire. They showed him like drawing, and then he made it.
That's it. All they showed was drawing.
And same
At
thing
least
with
in this one, they showed you with the material and the pressing machine with
Also,
the
they
logo.
have to show you everything. Do they have to show you Tobey Maguire going to the bathroom?
You're the one that wants to see everything.
No, but I'm saying is he still sewed
Hold
it
on.
together like a professional
Hold
suit.
on.
You know what I mean, Jeff? Hold
So
on,
a
hold on.
teenager can't do that?
Hold on.
Well, Tobey
on.
Maguire did it, and
So-
Andrew Garfield did it. They both did the same
Hold on.
thing.
They did, and it's not, and it's also in saying that it's not to say that Andrew is incapable
Right.
of making that suit because
He made web
Toby-
shooters.
Hold on, Toby. There is a scene where Toby is sewing the suit. He has a sewing machine and everything.
Yeah.
He does draw it. Albeit that suit does look a little more superhero-y than Andrew's. And the reason being is because of the webbing, because it's indented and things like that. Now, in the visual effects department of Amazing Spider-Man, they made it a point to where the suit shouldn't properly fit him, and so they create folds within the suit in order, like in the visual effects, in order to make it seem like there's extra air underneath. and
Yeah,
things
you
like
see
that.
those folds.
Yeah,
And
because it's a real suit.
it's a real. Yes, because it is a real suit. Thank you, Dario. I didn't think it was a fake or anything. Like
I mean, Tobey Maguire's suit Tom Holland's suit is not real.
And the best comparison that you guys have made is Tom Holland's homemade suit.
Yeah. How
but
does the Andrew Garfield look like that?
So hold on. So the thing is, Tom Holland's era, for his sake, even though he's smart as these Peters and things like that, he didn't take the time to build something together. Although he does wear like spandex for pants and sneakers and things like that. The way to put sneakers onto spandex is literally just to sew the bottom sole to the bottom of it. But the design, like the blue and red and the spider, the way it goes about it, there is a scene in Andrew's movie where there is a printing press and the way he goes about that, but that is really, really symmetrical. Like I'm talking.
Not George, but he's incapable of doing that.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's really symmetrical. Like the spider and the blue design and things like that. That's the part where I think Dario is seeing that it's really perfect.
Yeah.
In terms like
And
the
he sewed it
blue design, the
Yeah.
spider, the back, things like that.
Yeah, the design.
I think that's what Dario's
I see no
part is.
difference between the way Toby made his suit and the way Andrew made his suit. It was the same thing. They both grabbed the thing, they put it together, and it fits them, and it looks like a professional, like a professional costume
Now-
designer would do. Like there's no difference between Toby and Andrew.
Well, the difference I see is that we don't see Toby buy the material to make the suit, but we do see Andrew buy spandex online to make the suit.
Right.
That's the only real thing I have for
that's just
that.
like the movie deciding to show you that part. You know what I mean? But,
We see
but
him-
when we go
yeah.
to the final result, right? Because we don't see everything. Jeff's point, we don't need to see everything. We can just assume that Tobey Maguire did that. But when we look at the final result, you saying that Tobey Maguire's suit looks professional, and then Andrew Garfield's looks like a teenager could do it. It's the same thing. They just look different, whether you like the other suit better or not, but it still looks like a pretty press factory company with the designs and the way it's sewed together, and it fits him perfectly. Like it's not like Tom Holland's suit, which is a hoodie.
Okay.
So that looks like a teenager would do. It's just a mask and a
Okay.
hoodie, and like, you know what I mean?
We're not gonna agree on that, but I'm gonna add one more thing to my point. That wasn't even his first suit. He had a suit. Andrew had a suit before that. The prototype. Let's remember that. So that wasn't even his first suit. So also that adds to my point that he didn't right from the jump get to that suit.
Sure.
He started with that weird mask and the beanie and the glasses.
Sure, they made the
So
point to show.
I think it adds to it.
Right, it adds to it, but when we look at the final result, it's the same between
Okay.
Tobey Maguire and
So-
Andrew.
and also Toby's first suit was his wrestling suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I
because
mean.
of
They
that.
basically did the same thing, Jeff. That's what I mean. I don't know where you're drawing the difference. I mean, Andrew Garfield made the choice to show you more of that like DIY, like he's making it. But when you look at the final result, it's a professional looking suit. And that's what I mean. Whether Tobey Maguire's didn't show you as much, the process was the same. And then
Can I just say one thing? Maybe I can articulate it. Spider-Man Peter from Tobey, it looks like it's all one material that a corporation made. It looks, there's no like divisions, like it's all one uniform.
That's such a tiny detail.
Andrew Garfield's looks like he separately got the glasses, separately bought the spandex, the sneakers. You see the bottom of the shoe. That's what I mean. It looks like it was put together. Like you can see the details of that.
Yeah.
Toby's looks like it's just one thing that fits together perfectly.
I mean, that's just a style choice. But
mean.
Jeff, that's just a style choice. There's just different style choices.
But that's what gives it the essence that it was put together by a teenager.
Okay, it was
so it's not
put
one
together,
perfect uniform.
but the result is what I mean is the same. It's like they both have a professional looking suit. I mean, yeah, it looks more realistic in the way that in the Tobey Maguire with the technology that they had, they made it all like together and it looks all nice and print. And he's, that's the style that they went with. And in this one, maybe they went with a more DIY side, but it's still a professional looking suit because it was, in real life, it was designed by professionals.
Okay.
All right. So to wrap that point up.
Oh no.
How would you?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're done. You're done with your case.
Well, I have one more point.
No. How would you both? Oh, actually, yeah, I'll give it to both of you. How would you, Dario, make this suit the final suit of the movie that is going to be the mascot of this movie? How would you make it more DIY?
Hey, let's make it quick because we gotta move on.
Yeah. So
that's why I'm wrapping that
there
up.
is a suspension of disbelief in Spider-Man. In every Spider-Man, it's like, oh, all of a sudden he's a teenager and he has this really cool looking suit, right? So as an audience, you have to kind of like suspend your disbelief and be like, okay, a teenager wouldn't really do that, but I guess in this case we do. And Tom Holland's, they kind of fixed that problem by just having Tony Stark do it for him. But in these first two movies, I'm okay with this suspending my disbelief and being like, oh, this is a teenager. He wouldn't really do that, but whatever, it's Spider-Man. But he could do it like with Tom Holland's Spider-Man with a hoodie and stuff. Like that is really DIY. A teenager could do that. Or just look more scrubbly. But I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. Jeff's point is that this is a good suit because it looks like a teenager would do it. I'm like, no, it doesn't look like a teenager could do that. So that's my point. Even though I'm willing to, that's not my issue with it. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and be like, but Jeff is using that because Tobey Maguire's ones is the same thing. And if I'm talking about that issue, then that would be my issue also with Tobey Maguire's. But my last point on that is, on top of all that, I don't like the design of this suit. I think it looks terrible. I told you guys this.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, that basketball-looking suit is it's terrible.
Okay. Can I just add?
Hold on. Wait, Dario.
I wouldn't change a thing. I like the suit, and I shouldn't say because you keep saying this. A teenager will build this. Replace a teenager with a genius teenager that made web shooters, and that's all I'll say.
But that's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is also very smart. You can see that in Spider-Man 2, he goes to college and stuff. But I'm saying that's not a point towards the movie because Tobey Maguire's has the same problem of a teenager making that type of suit. Andrew Garfield's...
He didn't make web shooters.
Right, they went with the original, natural webs. Fine, but he's still smart. He's still a very smart guy. Which, by the way...
Nah, hold on.
I also have a problem with how smart he is just because.
Hold on.
He's just smart. He just
How dare you?
Hold on. Dario, I'm asking again, how would you make this suit acceptable?
I wouldn't change a thing.
I wouldn't.
Okay, well, no, I'm asking Dario.
Well, my answer to that was I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. I wouldn't change it. My issue with Jeff's point is saying that this makes it good, better than Tobey Maguire's, let's say. I'm saying that's the same issue that Tobey Maguire's has. that is not realistic. I'm saying this one is also not realistic. You know what I mean? But I'm willing to surpass this issue. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and be like, teenagers wouldn't do that, but that's okay. But that's not a point towards the movie. That doesn't make that's not a plus for it. You know?
Okay. So, next point then.
Well, on top of that, I want to say that this is my least favorite suit of all of them. Spider-Man, which is funny because the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is my favorite. It's one of my favorites. Like, that's how you do it.
Me too.
I can agree.
Me too.
No, yeah, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. And if I can just finish my positives, and I think we'll find common ground in this one.
For the record, I do actually like the suit.
Huh?
For the record, I do actually like the suit, but I'm hearing you both.
Yeah, me too. We'll find common ground in this one. I think the VFX. What?
Well, no, I was gonna say actually in the game that they made it around the same time for this movie, they added a belt to the suit, and I think it gave it more of a division between the top layer and bottom layer. And the belt was used to refill his web shooters and stuff. And so, if you look that up, I think it's more aesthetically pleasing to the eye instead of just one slender dude. But yeah, I'll just add that.
Okay. I guess we'll find common ground in this. The VFX are one of the best VFX we've ever seen in a superhero movie. I think the VFX still hold up. The bridge scene, one of the best moments in Spider-Man's movies.
What?
When he saves that kid.
Okay.
The school fight, the Stan Lee cameo, another highlight of this movie. The city looks great, and it has one of the best final swings, which the Tom Holland movies dropped the ball with. I think Tobey Maguire's movies and Andrew's movies did it the best. Those final swings. That final shot of him in slow motion, that's iconic. And this is where you might roast me for saying this. That montage of him skating with Coldplay playing in the background, perfection. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. To this day, I love that scene. I love that song.
You know, it's hard to argue with somebody who just has bad taste. You know what I mean? Oh, like when something's bad and you just say it's good, I liked it. It's like
what's so bad about that scene? Tell me. They're foreshadowing him swinging with the webs.
George,
Coldplay. It's Coldplay, bro.
Yes.
Come on.
We're filmmakers. I like to.
We're filmmakers.
I like to think that
Jeff,
we could do a better job at a montage, a little montage.
So
like they set the camera so far away. And
I'm not saying it's perfect.
I'm
not saying it's perfect.
But
I think
can I tell?
You said perfection.
Hold on.
You said perfection.
As a figure of speech.
Wait.
Don't twist my words.
I'm using your words.
As a filmmaker, can I touch on that? So, Daryl, you mentioned earlier that this movie has a lot of montages in the beginning, and montages are usually, they're made to kind of break scenes up instead of having a full scene, break things up in order to get to the point, and also to showcase something cool in terms of flashing forward. So, is it so bad to have that many montages in the beginning of a movie?
I would say yes, and especially because they're boring too. They're not like very interesting looking montages. So I feel like there's two crimes. Too many montages, and they're not even interesting. So, and I guess...
What about that scene is not interesting?
What scene?
The skateboarding scene.
So that is technically a montage.
I would say that would be one of the better montages, but it's still not great.
Okay.
That would be one of the better, because it's actually doing something.
That's the only one I'm defending.
Okay. Well, I would still say, that happens, right after he gets the date with Gwen, right? He's happy. And he just walks out. Which was
a cute, awkward scene. It was a cute, awkward scene.
Disagree. And then he goes in there. You see him skateboarding, jumping, then the chain thing.
You are way.
Yeah, and then he looks up and screams for some reason.
Whoa! What do you mean for some reason? Why are you... Bro, you're being too... too attacative. Like
You're
attack
the
is
one.
for
Hey,
him.
Not even a word.
Like
Is that a word?
It's not a word.
You're so
I'll
attacative.
say.
By the way, you set the tone, Jeff. Okay, blame yourself.
Well, no. I'll say.
By the way, I don't
in
like
my
being a hater.
opinion, I'll say, in my opinion, I do like that song in that moment, but I think a better montage is the one where he's actually making the suit and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
despite how we feel about the suit, I think it's quicker. A lot of more interesting things are happening in terms of him like making the web shooter, in terms of him like going out to test out his things, and like he's hearing
Yeah.
these nerds like talk about the how pendulums swing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's catching criminals, like a bunch of different things are happening in order to
Yeah.
progress. That he is fully, at first he's physically Spider-Man, right? He hasn't taken the namesake yet, but in terms of transitioning to that, I think that's a strong montage.
Okay.
Yeah, and you remember all these things that I gave you, these positives. I believe with all that, with Andrew Garfield's performance, with Gwen.
What performance?
I also
what performance?
Uncle-
What performance? Tell me a good scene.
a good scene, the dinner scene
What dinner scene?
when he's going back and forth with her dad.
That was so bad.
You can't. Oh my! What is so bad about that?
Again, he's kind of out of character. He's barely talkative.
I have a
all
better,
movie,
better scene.
and then he sits down, and all of a sudden he's like, because I get it, he's defending Spider-Man, right? But then he's going so hard against, like you're a
Yeah.
guest in that house.
Because he's already been through a few things. You keep referring to the very beginning of the movie
Right. Like,
when he
I'll-
wasn't
I'll-
talking at all.
No, even to this scene again.
Now-
when I'm watching it, I'm like, he's barely talking, and then we get to that scene. He's at the house, and then, oh, sir, I think he's doing good. He's defending the city, and he's like, why are you arguing with this guy? Is my question.
It's Peter Parker. It's because it's Peter Parker. He's an idiot sometimes.
So Jeff,
and that's
Jeff,
the point.
I think, and I said this to you before. I think your love for the character, the love that you have for the
I don't
character.
even like the character. I don't even like the character.
Don't be lying.
No,
you
right, Jeff,
love
okay.
Spider-Man. You come on. You hate Spider-Man.
Maybe I'll let you trash other scenes, but you can't trash on that scene. I
I
think that
will
was a
trash
good
on
scene.
it because
George, was that not a good scene? The dinner scene.
can I say
actually
that I
have a
haven't
better
made my
scene.
haven't made my point yet. Jeff
Oh,
doesn't
okay,
let me.
so
doesn't let me.
for the record, I have a better scene to point out, but I would like to hear Dario's point.
Okay. And by the way, that was my final. That was all my positive. I mean, I can go on, but those were my points of
Okay,
positives.
I have notes too that I want to go through.
Yeah.
But in that
So,
sense,
well, finish your point, and then I'm gonna point out another scene and see how you guys feel about that.
okay, and then we'll go
Wait,
through my
me?
notes.
That I think, but both of you, because I think I have another scene that's a little better.
Well,
Okay, we haven't talked about the villain.
hold on.
but You want me to finish
can,
my
can we
point?
finish about this scene?
Wait.
I haven't. You gave your
Yes.
point. I haven't even argued against it.
Okay.
So that scene, that dinner scene, again, and you have to look at the whole movie. He's not talkative very much throughout the whole movie. Then he sits down
Yes,
in the
okay.
dinner, and then all of a sudden he's like arguing against the police guy because he's like, oh, Spider-Man, he's a badass, whatever. And then he's like, sir, I think he's just trying to do good, and blah, 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 blah. And Gwen is like, stop. It's like, it's so natural. It's like, you're a guest in somebody's house. Why would you offend the person, even if he's trash talking Spider-Man?
didn't
Hold
mean to
on,
offend him.
Jeff, hold on, because that happens a lot in the Tobey Maguire, where the what's his name, J. Jonah Jameson is trash talking Spider-Man. He just kind of takes it because he doesn't want to be rude. And then in this scene, nobody's trash talking Spider-Man really. Then he starts trash talking him, and he starts like arguing with him. You're a guest. It felt so natural. And again, this is one of my points of him being unlikable. It's like, you're supposed to be a better person. What kind of superhero goes to somebody's house to have dinner and then just argues? And again, I can't say other than he's just in bad taste and poorly done. The way that scene, the whole movie is really done. And then we can do other things, and then I'll go through my notes.
I want to hear your positives.
So hold on. So in terms of who would do that, an angsty teen would do that. However,
Thank you.
And because we do have people, and I do have a friend that likes to argue no matter who's in the room.
So
and
that's
I
what
think
Spider-Man. So Spider-Man should behave that. Peter Parker should behave that way. Because again,
I'm saying
they're trying to make it a nasty team.
He says smart ass sometimes. Yeah.
You mean all the time?
No.
This Spider-Man.
Sometimes.
Sometimes this, not sometimes.
I'm not done. He, in terms of the movie, he has not come to the point where he is able to change and grow in terms of personality. So for the movie's defense, if that's what they're going for, then that's pretty much what they're trying to convey. But let me present you a better scene, I think, in my opinion. The scene where he comes back after forgetting to pick up Aunt May, and he has an argument between him and Uncle Ben. And I think both characters, everybody in there, is acting is really good, and the dialogue feels like it's bouncing back and forth in a good way. And then obviously he leaves and slams the door. But how do you guys feel about, since you're talking about performance, in terms of that scene? How do you guys feel about that one?
You go first.
In terms of performance, I think it's good. And if there's any scene in this movie that you want to talk about good performance for Andrew, this is one of them, because he gives a good performance in that moment. And then maybe towards the end when Gwen's dad dies and stuff, maybe that's a good performance. As far as performance, yes. As far as storytelling and like naturally in the scene, it felt shoehorned in there, because it kind of didn't make sense to me the way Uncle Ben said that. Like he comes in, he forgot to pick up, her, and then he gets real angry at him and he's yelling at him, and then he tells him about their responsibility. Great power comes great responsibility. And I'm like, what power is he talking about? That makes no sense in this context.
It does, because it explodes, because this is something that's been building up. It's not the first time that Peter does that. I think previously we already seen examples where he either keeps forgetting something or he keeps messing up or acting weird.
And this is my point about not being a likable character. Over and over again, he keeps doing that. He obviously doesn't care about Aunt May and her. And it's like, and they even have this quick call, like, bring, okay, I'll go pick her up. And then he goes to the lab and he forgets. And then he comes home late and it's like, this is our hero?
So
he's not.
This
Uncle
is,
Ben.
Yeah, because
Uncle Ben's
growth.
point.
No, there's no growth.
Well, Uncle Ben's point in that scene is that he's comparing him to his dad and everything, and that that his dad eventually grew to be a good man, and then he wants Peter to do that with all the responsibility that he has in his life. So that's just the point of that scene.
And I think the way they use the voicemail at the end of the movie, of him talking, it really drives the point that, yes, Uncle Ben was like the father that Peter had all these years, even though he didn't have his real dad. That thing that hit home, that point, and it made me feel. So
I would like to add that, and this is not only this movie, it's every movie. When somebody dies and leaves a voicemail, it is the most moving voicemail.
Yeah.
Yes.
that I always hear. But it always happens, and to me, it's becoming a cliche.
Yep.
Because not only does he leave this like novel of a voicemail, it's so motivational. And imagine he hears that before he gets home. Like he heard that whole thing and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna change. Peter. Come home, Peter. He gets
You're
home.
My hero.
Peter, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
you left Aunt May there, you dummy. Like this is New York.
But it drives. You can't deny that it drives the point.
It does.
This
in
is
terms
a good.
Of, Uncle Ben being Uncle Ben.
I don't know if it's a better Uncle Ben than the previous movies, but this is a good Uncle Ben.
I like him.
I was gonna say his performance is he's one of the best. He just seemed he was good for that part, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He reminds me of like some of my family members. So yeah, I think he's good.
Okay, so my notes about all the negatives.
Yes.
And I only made it about halfway.
More
through.
negatives?
Well, I think
More negatives.
We talked about.
Well, that's
this
Dario's
stuff.
case. That's Dario's case.
I want
Dario's case is that this movie is not.
And
good.
by the way, can I say halfway through this, I'm not a hater. I don't like this. I like talking, talking good things about movies. But this is
you're a hater.
This is the character.
You are a hater.
So listen here, Bucko.
That is on the record. That is on the record now.
So these are just the notes I made about halfway through. The lab scene, right? When he goes to the lab after finding that Connors used to work with his dad, then he goes there. He takes somebody's badge that gets kicked out. Great, what a nice guy. Then he's supposed to stay with the group. He wanders around, and at that point, I remember I was paying attention. And I'm like, even I was confused. Like, what is he looking for? Like, why is he wandering around, breaking into rooms? Like, obviously, he's not supposed to be there. The train scene where he gets his powers. We talked about this. Kind of didn't make sense. He beats everybody up in the train, which he does it accidentally. But it's like, why is he's beating these people up who are just defending a woman who they just thought got like sexually harassed from their point of view, let's be honest. Like, he goes to touch her and take her shirt off, and then it felt so unnatural. Like, they got so mad, and then they're fighting. And
did it for the boys.
Okay. So, the whole train scene makes no sense. I don't know why he had to discover his powers by fighting some guys defending a woman. Wow, what a great guy. The way that's positioned. Again, I already made this point. Why does he have to break everything? We get it. He's strong. They keep coming back to this. 30 minutes in, and we already had like 3 montages. He's looking through the briefcase. He's looking at Curtis Connors. He has the montage looking at his appendix. There's just so many montages, and we're not even halfway through the movie, which makes the movie kind of slow, and just kind of seems like there's not enough story. It seems like filler to me. Then he goes to his house, Connor's house. How did he find it? We don't know. They don't explain it. It's fine. He just found
Google Maps.
How does he find his address? I don't know how he found his address, but he just shows up, and then he's like, I'm Peter Parker. I'm Parker's son. Okay, come in. Then they have this really weird conversation about it's exposition, really. It's just exposition, and then he writes down the formula. Oh, you're so smart. How did you come up with it? I'm just smart. Great explanation. Yeah.
Damn right.
I said this before. He has no personality. It's kind of boring. He's not fun at all. The Flash. Just to mention Flash real quick, just cliche bully type. He's just a bully just to be a bully.
I would like to push back on that. This Flash is actually the better Flash out of the 3.
Yes.
Because there's that scene where Uncle Ben is dead, and then he comes back, he comes to him, and he thinks he's going to be bullied again, and he's like, "Hey, Parker," and then he grabs him and he slams him against the locker. Yeah. And Jeff, don't finish my sentences. How dare you? and when he does that, he grabs him and he's like, I'm sorry, your Uncle Ben died. Like, he shows sympathy and stuff, Yeah. And I think that adds a third dimension to him in terms of his character. And Jeff, do you want to take over this conversation?
You want to do my part?
You interrupt me again. I'm gonna have Dario suplex you.
Suplex.
So, in terms of that, compared to other Flashes, we have typical 2000 bully Flash, who just wants to fist fight him in the middle of the school, like straight up boxing, then gets embarrassed, and then we never see him again in that trilogy. Or we have pipsqueak little wannabe cool kid Flash, who even in the third movie, well, for the first 2 movies, he's drooling over Spider-Man, but he's bagging on Peter Parker, calling him Penis Parker all the time. And
that's kind of funny.
Is it? Penis jokes, are they funny?
I'm not saying they're funny. The joke is funny. I think the fact that he loves Spider-Man.
It's immature.
The fact that he loves Spider-Man but hates Peter is kind of funny.
There's dynamic there. But then by the third movie, even if he kind of sort of, who is street racing right now in the afternoon? It's not even nighttime. Piss off.
What is your point?
This is the real George.
Anyways, sorry. That is the movie. The third movie, he gives him information, and then he still acts like he's like, I don't really need this guy in this movie at all. So I think that is my case of this Flash being out of the others a better Flash.
I think Flash hasn't been done well, and saying that this is the best Flash it's a low bar.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that compared to the other Flashes,
Yeah.
for me, this one is the strongest, and it's not saying much, but it is.
Right, that's what I mean.
I agree
That's
with
not
that.
saying much.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just a typical bully, and then they give him one scene of like, "Oh, I'm sorry about your uncle dying," and it's like, okay, that was pretty nice of him, but what's his role other than just being a bully?
There's also, and then there's also a scene at the end where he's wearing Spider-Man's shirt and he like messes with Peter and gives him a head, a noogie or whatever. And I know that what they're doing there is they're supposed to build up like a relationship for further movies, which that didn't successfully happen because he's supposed to eventually become like Agent Venom and stuff like that. In the comics. So but that's beside the point. The thing is like there's something supposed to be building by now,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why he's stronger for me.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dario.
Like I said, I don't think that's saying much for the movie. For the movie itself, that doesn't improve the movie that this is the best Flash. It's a low bar, sort of. Okay, so my next point is, he's strong. He's breaking everything. I already said this. Peter and Gwen are awkward, and I'm saying like the bad type of awkward. Look at Zendaya and Tom for good awkward. And that's my argument.
Good awkward.
Yes, good awkward.
He's
Jeff.
citing
Good-
his word.
Good awkward is like saying dry water.
No.
Yes.
What?
This cute.
It's like saying good bad.
Yes, good bad. When something's supposed to, you hate to love the character, right? The good villains, hate to love him, but you hate him.
You
know?
mean you love to hate them?
Yeah, you love to hate them, type deal. Rather than it's like a bad villain, which is a bad villain. No one likes it because he's a bad character, or a Thanos, which is like everybody loves to hate him because he's so well developed. He's a bad guy done well. I get my point.
Sure.
Actually, I think you were right on the first one. Hate to love him.
Yeah,
because
hate to love him.
He's
yeah,
so
exactly.
lovable. We hate him
So
because he's a
lovable.
bad guy. Yeah.
Then he does the thing where he fixes the formula. They have that scene with the rat, and he's like, "Oh, we couldn't come up with the formula on how to grow, the rat's hand." And then Peter comes in and he's like, "Well, check this out, bloom," and then it works. And then Connor's like, "Thank you, Peter." He's like, "Wow, he just solved it." It's kind of like when Tony Stark creates time travel. It's like they can't make it, and then he just does it in one night. That's one of my pet peeves about Endgame. You guys know what I'm talking about? He just creates time travel like the first time he tries it. But again, it's like they make no effort to make him look smart. He's just saying like these smart things. It's so awkward, like in the tour in the lab when Connors asks like something, and then Peter's in the back and he has the right answer. He's like, "Oh, who are you? Oh, this is interesting. This smart
Can
guy."
I get one pushback to that?
Yeah.
They show him studying his dad's files before that scene. So he did his homework.
Yeah.
It is established.
Good. Wow.
So, yeah.
They established something like
In
a
your face.
movie should. Again,
In your face.
just because they established it doesn't mean it's good.
The passive
That's also the
aggressiveness.
point I'm trying to get across. Just because they did a movie thing doesn't make it good. You know? Just because they're trying to make you feel one way, maybe that was the wrong direction. That was the wrong way to make you feel. So he just fixes the formula. What do you got? What do you guys got on that? That he's so smart that Connors couldn't figure it out, but then
He's smart.
Peter comes
and
in.
He did his homework.
So Connors has been working on this for years. Peter comes in one day. He studies papers that who knows how they're related. Here, did you try this? Done.
No, say it right. He was working with that for years with Peter's dads, who had all these files, and that's why Peter studied those things, and that's why he knew what was going on.
And that's good enough for you?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Well, that's you.
How would that convey heavier or like deliver itself in a better way?
I just don't think Peter should have been the one to just get it so fast. You know what I mean? Like it should have been like more of a collaboration with Peter. Just kind of showed up with the answer. You know, there's no work through that. You need to show that. You know what I mean?
I agree with you with that when you say collaboration, and I'll touch on that when we get to the villain because I do have comments.
Mm-hmm. Then my other thing was like the argument. We already talked about this. Ben and May and her when they're arguing. I think it kind of comes out of nowhere. It kind of makes that is one of the best moments in the movie. I'll give you that because he's a good performance from all of them. But it felt a little bit out of nowhere. It's like we're getting to the point where Ben is supposed to die, and we know that Peter is supposed to be mad at him. So they just kind of have this quick scene. There you go. And then the death scene of him is kind of weird too. He goes to the store, and then the guy's being a jerk. The store guy, sure. And then the robber, like they tried to do the same thing that Tobey Maguire's did, but I think setting it up in a store so quickly and then leaving, like I feel like it was a bigger crime. Like in Tobey Maguire's, just to compare the two, just for a second, right? He goes to the tournament. He's promised $5,000 and he needs the money. And then when he wins the fight, what does the guy do? He doesn't give him the $5,000. He only gives him like $100, right? And he's pissed because he's like, you promised me this much money. What's going on? And then when the robber comes away and runs, that was a bad moment in Peter's life. But he's like, hey, not my problem, right? And then this Peter, he's just trying to buy a milk. And the guy's being a jerk, 2 cents. And he walks away, and then he sees the guy stealing the beer and the money and runs away. And he's like, not my problem. He's like, dude, what? And then the guy comes outside, and he's like, hey, a little help? Like, asking Peter for help? Like, the guy just stole. Like, why are you asking this kid? What do you expect Peter to do? Like, I'm talking about the store guy. And he runs away. He has the beer. He's like, that guy, somebody stop that guy. And he even drops the beer. I don't know if you guys noticed. He drops the beer. He just starts running away. And then he trips. And then, like, the whole thing seems so... I just didn't like any of it. Like, how does any of that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, Tobey Maguire
I missed the
did
part
it.
where that's my problem.
What's that?
Said I missed the part where that's my problem.
Yeah.
No, look, it's serious. In all seriousness,
Do you know what I mean?
I do agree with some of your points. I think the death could have been handled better. But yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
So,
and
is it the? So I'm a little confused. Is it the store scene? Did I just stutter? Ugh. Is it the store scene that is bad, or is it the death scene?
I think it's both. So, because it's the setup and the lead up to the death, and then the death happens. So in Tobey Maguire's, again, they set it up as he needs the money. He thinks if he wins this fight, he's gonna get $5,000, and then he only gets like $100 at the end. And so he's really pissed at the guy for not giving him enough money, and then he lets the guy go, and that's when he goes and kills Uncle Ben by accident. In this one, they set it up as him just buying like this milk. He doesn't have 2 pennies, and the guy's being a jerk, like, hey, I'm not gonna give you the milk if you don't have the 2 pennies. And then right there, the guy gives him the milk. You know, like he throws in the milk, and he takes it, and then he grabs some money from the register, and then some beer, and he runs. That's what the guy does. And then Peter's like, hey, not my problem. I mean, they walk outside, and when the guy's running away, the store guy looks at Peter, and he's like, a little help? And in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean a little help? Like, Peter is just standing there. What do you want him
to... like...
Okay,
what?
so...
Like, what?
Maybe
what?
help him catch the guy.
What?
In terms of... Hold on. In terms of setting up and the lead up to that thing, in the other in Tobey's Spider-Man, it directly affects him in terms of the money and the decision so he makes a decision. You know, I'm not going to help because that person didn't help me. Right. In a bigger sense.
In a bigger sense.
And
yes.
so that decision causes Uncle Ben to die because he didn't stop the guy.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, the same thing happens in general, but the weight of the decision being made is not as heavy.
It's not as heavy. It's like he's trying to buy this milk, and he's missing 2 cents, and the store guy won't give it to him.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, but now it leads to the death of Uncle Ben, which, for me, I think, besides the store scene, I think him leaving and like slamming the door, and then Uncle Ben going to find him is fine in terms of like
I like that,
setting that up. I think that's fine because it directly impact. Like, imagine if he did stop that guy, then he wouldn't die. That's pretty much what goes through our head.
Right. It's
still more heartbreaking.
It's the Spider-Man story. Yeah,
and it, like Jeff said, it's more heartbreaking because we directly see him cause this issue. Like, we directly see
and the
Peter
last
cause this
thing
issue.
he got to say to him was in an argument. So I think that makes it hit harder.
Yes.
So it's mostly I see that it's mostly the setup or the motive or it's the setup to Uncle Ben's death. It's not necessarily.
I mean, there's
the
they
death
can't
because we
change
literally
that
don't
because
see Uncle Ben like get shot in the first one. In this one, we see him get shot.
Yeah.
Right. And no, exactly. We don't see him, but yes, the setup is good because those are the aspects of how that happens, right? Peter doesn't do something which leads to Uncle Ben dying. Obviously, that's good. But I'm saying the way they did it is not good. Because that's my problem with all of this movie. All of the aspects of it are good things if done well. Awkward teenager, sure. Skateboarder, sure. You know, Gwen and Stacy being awkward, sure. You know, this whole Ben thing, sure. Those are good plot points. But they're done they're not done well. Like, and that's why I mentioned like the whole store and just buying the milk and letting him go, and then him, instead of coming off as an asking teenager, he comes off as a jerk because they went too hard on it. That's what I mean. It's not done well. I get what they're going for. Oops, hitting my mic. They didn't do it well. Do I get my point across? And I don't know. And I'm not gonna like those aspects just because it's Spider-Man. I'm not gonna like that.
Right.
I'm looking at it as a movie.
So to wrap that point up, now let's move on to the villain.
Well, hold on. My last point is
so from the beginning to the end.
Before we move on to the one last point. I was looking at the timeline. It's halfway before we even see any action. The movie takes the first whole half of the movie until he gets the suit on.
I like that.
Now,
I don't like that.
Is that now? See, hold on. That's actually not like with your point of there's good aspects, but it could be done better. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad because there's other movies that have done that. And
it's why I love Iron Man 3.
Well, I mean, there's another thing, but still, like, we know what to expect because it's the third movie. For this movie, there's nothing wrong with building up character up until that. The only thing is that you have to make it interesting enough for us to not even notice that there's
That's what I mean.
There's nothing really happening.
There's nothing wrong with him getting the suit halfway through the movie, except that the first half before that point was so boring. You know what I mean? It's not
that is Dario's point.
Yeah, it's like it's still not done in a good way, and that's why you have to let go of like your expectations and loving these plot points, and just look at the movie and how they handled it. I don't think they did a good job. I hate being a hater. I hate saying that because those are people.
You're a hater.
You have hater. Yeah. And people were. It's not. None of this is to say nobody has worked hard on this movie because I've been on movie sets and they do actually work hard in order to create entertainment. And I see that. Sometimes I see people being lazy, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah. How long have we been going?
But it's just the final. How long?
90 minutes.
90 minutes? You're joking. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No,
1:30. Yeah. So. To drive it across, what matters is the final product, and that is what we're arguing about. So for the final point, we should touch on the villain because that is probably the biggest thing that people debate about throughout the world and can actually probably have common ground in there. So the Lizard,
and,
Dr. Connors.
And this is probably where we'll find common ground, and it's gonna be connected to my bottom line. You guys know the Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon?
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Yes, it's amazing.
Go watch episode 3.
Yeah,
that's the episode about the Lizard.
Mm-hmm.
They did in 30 minutes what this movie should have done in one movie with the Lizard. They showed them working together. They showed his family. They showed that he's a human and relatable. When I said I would cut all those things out, this is what I would replace it with. I would show him, like in the cartoon, his family. I believe there's actually deleted scenes for some reason that they showed his family. I think that would add to his character. And yeah, or also I would take from that cartoon or do something similar to what the video game did with Doc Ock and Spider-Man.
I was gonna bring up the video game, but yeah.
Where they show him, they show a love and Peter looking up to this guy, and so it makes it harder to hit the impact when he becomes a villain. I would think something like that and show his family, and that's what I would replace all the things that I cut out. With that being said, so with all those things, it could have been better. However, it's not the worst villain we've seen. I don't think it's horrible. I think it's decent enough. And it's one of the best looking villains, VFX wise, that we've seen in a while. Even though it wasn't perfect, I don't think it's enough to drag the movie down. And that's why I'll stand my ground saying that it's a good movie, because I don't think it's enough to make it a bad movie. But you probably agree with what I said, and I'm probably gonna agree with some of your points too about the villain.
Yes, we agree. I think don't people say a superhero movie is really as good as its villain? So you really have to get the villain right, and I think that's something that a lot of people are now doing. Especially with they're developing the villains more. A lot of these superhero movies usually start with the villain. Hey, here's the backstory. In Thor, we just saw that. Spoiler alert. Gore is the villain, and they do take their time to develop his backstory and his motivation. I think his motivation is weak. His plan is weird, and he's just like you said, he just wasn't well done. He's not developing enough. And his plan is to turn everybody into lizards. For what reason? Who knows? He wants to make humanity better. So how is that better? We need to ask him.
Right.
Being a lizard is lit.
Yeah,
I agree.
How lit?
I think to tie that up, I think it wasn't weird until he turned himself into the lizard.
Right.
And I think that was the interior, on paper, that was the movie's point in order to. When he turned himself into a lizard, the lizard DNA is kind of twisting his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what they wrote down on paper, and they thought, okay, this is what we want to convey. But as the movie projects, it seems jarring to switch from wanting to help people like him with amputees and people with diseases, wanting to do that, but then kind of jarringly flip over to be we should be more. We should be lizards.
We should be lizards.
And, the next step in human evolution, they all say.
Yeah.
So
it's funny they make fun of it.
That's that point.
They make fun of it in No Way Home. When they ask what's your plan? Mm-hmm. I want to make everybody into lizards. Yeah. What do you want to do? Make everybody into lizards? Yeah. He's like, okay, dude.
Let's
go. All right, dude.
Lizard gang.
Lizard gang.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, we all agree on that. He's not he's not the worst villain ever, but but the fact that, again, I put all the negatives that I have, and then you put that on top, it also doesn't have a good villain. it drags the movie down. You're saying it doesn't have enough to be dragged down. I think it does. The only thing that could have helped this movie is having a good villain. That would have raised it up. But they don't even have that. So
I don't think it's enough to drag it down. I think the positives outweigh the villain.
And again, your positives are the Spider-Man aspects of it. Like, you like the concept, the ideas of it, but I don't think they were executed
Peter Parker.
right. You like this Peter Parker. I don't know how. I don't know what you like about him.
And the relationship.
What do you
and
like?
Uncle Ben.
What about the story? What kind of story does he go through?
Okay. As I mentioned, one of the things that we cut out is everything with the parents.
But you can't cut it out because it is in the movie, so we have to talk about it.
So what do
Okay,
you like?
I acknowledge it, and back then I did like it. Looking back now, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I would replace those things, and I wrote on my notes, I would, instead of focusing on the parents thing or chasing the killer, I would focus on what, and I like Homecoming for this, what Homecoming did, which is just being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, just helping, people, or seeing, like Homecoming. Homecoming did it.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't give me the sense that he wants to help people. This Peter Parker.
Not at first.
Yeah, and then he's
But like I said before, when that bridge scene,
yeah.
it's a whole different thing.
Well, he's now trying to stop the Lizard Man, which again is a superhero thing to do, but he's not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not going around helping people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say that scene with the kid is not terrible. I think it's really strong. When he's there, like when he's helping the kid, we see the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man come out because he literally like takes off his mask, tells him to wear it, it'll make him strong. He climbs out and then he catches him before it falls.
It's cute.
No, I love it. And then
No, shut up.
It's cute. It's cute.
And then he gets back on
It's
the
awesome.
bridge, and the dad, which by the way, he gets back on the bridge. He tells the dad it's Spider-Man, but that also affects the ending because it's not like they just left it there. They also wanted to use that plot point for later, so it's like a setup payoff type thing because he helps him swing on the thing and stuff like that.
Good.
Come on, bro.
They did one movie.
And I
too.
haven't even mentioned the score when he says I'm Spider-Man, and that music hits and he swings away. Come on, bro.
Again, your love for Spider-Man in that music.
No.
Like,
My love for film. My love for film.
What
Did
about
he
all the
say
things
his
that I
love for
said
film?
that doesn't?
I acknowledge it. I don't think it's strong enough to outweigh the pros.
And the pros are
Do I have to go through them again?
no.
Andrew Garfield.
No.
So
Andrew Garfield
Okay.
doesn't do anything. Has no personality in
It
this movie.
starts with Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield has no personality in this movie.
All right.
Tell me something
So,
good what's his personality?
I'm just gonna
what
repeat
what
myself.
kind of guy
I'm
is
just
he?
gonna repeat myself. I'm just gonna repeat myself.
Well,
No.
Doesn't
We're
convince me.
done with that.
yeah, we're done with
So,
that, but no personality.
all right, so-
he does nothing.
So give me your bottom lines, and I'll also want to
Okay.
push back on both of you don't like that crane scene. As fabricated as it seems, it every time I watch it, I kind of choke up because
You know what it is?
I.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If you interrupt me one more time, this is. I'm gonna burn your family's house down if you do that again.
we don't have
Listen.
a house. Jokes on you.
Yeah, I'm burning everybody's house around you just to find it.
Okay, go.
So that scene, if I could separate it from the movie, what it's conveying is that he's hurt and he can't like move on his own. He just needs a direct line to Oscorp. So the payoff of the guy seeing him on the news and wanting to help him, that's strong. So they do that. They set up all the cranes, and then the set, like the music setting, like building up in order for him to get it. Like the chopper even comes in and like directs him with the spotlight to where to go. And as soon as he starts running, he forgets about the pain for a little bit. He jumps, misses it, but then we see him catch onto the crane, Then he starts swinging, and then the music starts building up, and he starts going faster. And the whole like there's I even watched it in 3D when I first saw it, and there's a part where he does a backflip and comes close to the screen. Yeah, that's like one of the best 3D shots I've ever seen. Yeah. And the way the music is conveying itself, all the way up to where he finally lands on Oscorp, that whole scene, I'm like, God, that was like I felt like that was Spider-Man. You know, like just seeing him be Spider-Man. For me, I was like that. The swinging, the part where he's like, forget pain, I need to go save somebody. You know, this and then the people, like I love when civilians get involved in helping a superhero. That happens in Spider-Man 2 as well. Yeah. But just that whole scene and the elements in it, I'm like, no, this is a superhero. You know, for me.
The swinging in these two movies are the best swingings we've seen.
In all the Spider-Mans?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that moment is that it's that Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1. You mess with Spider-Man, you mess with New York, you mess with all of us. Or Spider-Man 2 in the train. That's what they try to replicate. I don't think it hit like those other movies, but that's pretty much
that's what I'm saying.
What they try to go for.
If I can pick it apart from everything else in the movie, that's my favorite scene. So that being said, Jeff, give me your bottom line, and then when you're done, Daryl will give me his bottom line, and then I'll decide who wins.
No, he gave you $5. He gave you $5.
I didn't give him anything.
George, I'll give you 10.
Daryl, you didn't give me anything.
Look,
10? I might be convinced.
Look,
you know?
Play some emotional music.
No, I'm not. I'll do it for me.
Listen,
I'm editing.
Hit some Coldplay. Somebody.
Crap.
Bro, he's gonna cut out everything Jeff says.
I'm gonna put like rock music.
Listen, look. In all seriousness, Sony got caught up. Yes, trying to make something different, bigger, trying to separate themselves from the previous franchise. And as a result, they missed on some spots, like you mentioned. They forgot about what makes Spider-Man. I'm gonna admit, yes. Like I mentioned, like showing him helping the people, like in Homecoming, struggling with money. That was another thing in the previous movies.
Yep.
That's a thing in the comics always, except for the time where he became a millionaire, but now not anymore.
We're not talking about that.
Instead what they did is they made him obsess over the killer. And yeah, I would completely cut that out. They make the villain, the Lizard, not the best villain. And I already said what I would change. However, with all that, I still think all the positives are enough to make me lean towards it, that it's a good movie when you take everything. It's still a good movie. There's 3 tiers here. You got great movies, that's where you put your Infinity Wars, Guardians, Winter Soldiers. You got your good movies, put whatever you want there. And then you got your bad movies.
Subjective here.
Then you got your bad movies like Morbius, Iron Man 2.
Whoa, Morbius. The cinema classic?
I don't think it fits in that category with bad movies. I think it did so many good things that it deserves to be put in that good spot because it did enough good things. I think Andrew Garfield carried that franchise and is my favorite Peter Parker and a lot of people's favorite Peter Parker. So with all that being said, I still think it's a good movie regarding of all those negatives that I brought up and that you brought up. You didn't change my mind. Sorry, you suck.
Okay, Jeff, your case is done here. Daryl, you will now present your case.
Okay.
All right.
Sad music. Go. So.
Wow. Oh yeah. Okay.
So it seems to me, Jeff, with your arguments, that you agree
Jeff?
with me. Yeah, Jeff.
Do not
No, I
interrupt.
don't.
Dario.
Jeff,
I don't.
don't interrupt.
What did I just say?
You know what?
Dario,
Turn your
Dario,
mic off.
continue.
Turn your mic off. So
Turn your mic off.
just for a second.
Yeah, and matter of fact, leave the house. Can you leave the house, please?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, start. All right, go ahead.
So, seems to me like you agree, and this is what I mean when I say you guys love the character, and therefore you love the movie, whether
Whoa,
the movie is
you
good or
guys
not.
is a lot of people.
George, why are you interrupting?
Don't
Because
interrupt
you said
him.
you guys. You said you guys.
Yeah, I'm
And
including you in
You're
this.
talking to Jeff. No. Don't involve me. I'm the judge.
All right, fine.
You continue.
Jeff, you love this character, and therefore there's not much that they can do to like disappoint you because you already love this story. So no matter what they do, you were gonna love the movie. And I feel like you just admitted it. Like, oh, look at all this stuff that is wrong with the movie. And then your final conclusion is, but it's Spider-Man, so I love it. And it's like, that's not how you rate a movie. You have to look at the aspects of it and say whether it's good or not. The villain doesn't have a good villain. His motivation are all skewed. The ending fight is kind of, the weird. Like the villain motivation is just not there. It's not developed enough. Okay? I'm glad you brought up that point of he's obsessed with the killer. You said you would like to take that out of the movie. Unfortunately, it isn't the movie, and it's such a big part of the movie. A lot of the middle of the movie, he gets obsessed with finding the killer, and he's catching all these criminals, but it's like, well, he has a how do you say bandera?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's looking for a specific guy. So it's like he's doing good, but his motivation is not great. And then he beats these guys up, and then he just kind of like the alleyway scene. I just watched it. He goes in and he's like, "Oh, tough guy, you like beating on girls?" And then all of a sudden, like 20 guys come out of a door and then chase him down. I'm like, okay, that just happened. So he's obsessed with the killer a little too much. Like they went through that really hard. He has no personality. I'm gonna keep saying this. You say that this Peter is your favorite Peter, and I would agree. In No Way Home, Andrew's Peter is probably my favorite Peter. But in this movie, he doesn't have any personality. We don't know any of his interests other than skateboarding, and we see that a little bit. But then he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't talk to anyone. He all of a sudden gets in a relationship with Gwen because he defended a little kid from a bully, and now she likes him. So I don't see like where is his personality. There's no fun in the movie. They stripped the movie of fun. It's kind of a toned down version of Peter, I feel like. And my last point is the suit. This is just an opinion, but I don't like the suit. It's my least favorite suit of all the suits. And I feel like that's a good point to make against the movie. So there you go.
Okay, yeah. Whatever. All right, so to wrap those things
I just
up.
have one question for
Oh
Darren.
my god. Okay.
Just one. This is a yes or no. I don't want to hear nothing else.
But we'll see. You don't get to dictate my answer.
This is a yes. This is a yes or no question. And this might prove my point. This might end our friendship.
No.
Would you put this movie in the same basket with Morbius?
I haven't seen Morbius.
What's another bad movie? I don't know. Thor 2. Would you put this movie in the same basket of a bad movie category? Compared to other movies like Morbius, Thor 2, Iron Man 2. What's another bad movie? Buzz Lightyear.
Oh my. Okay. That's
Think of the
subjective.
bad movies that
Yes.
we've seen.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Yes. My answer is yes. It has all the potential is so big. It has all the plot points of Spider-Man, yet it's still it's not well done. I would put it. Here's a bad movie, and you're gonna hate me for this. We're not longer gonna be friends, Jeff. The Last Airbender.
Oh my gosh.
Hold
what a
up.
hot
That
take.
is kind
Hold
of
up.
harsh.
Not only do you
Hold
Hold on. Let me explain.
Not
Let
only
me
do
explain.
you
Let me
lose
explain. Let me back
friends,
up a little bit.
You would
lost
put it in
the
the same
entire-
category as Airbender.
No, I would say it has the same problems of Airbender, where you have all the components of something good, but they don't do it right. They screw it up.
No. Airbender didn't do anything good.
But that's what I mean. But they had the potential. They had the Avatar.
This movie did things good. There are things that are good about it.
Okay, I'm gonna put it above Airbender. But my point is to compare it to that.
Okay. You guys froze.
You guys froze
you're
for
back.
me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you're back.
Okay, you're back.
Say that again.
That scared me. So the reason I'm comparing it to that, I'm not saying it's as bad as that, but it's the same thing.
Okay.
It has the content of something great, but then takes all the aspects of that and doesn't do it good. It does it in a bad way.
I wouldn't say all. I
would say all. The suit is not good. The relationship with Gwen is not
fine.
good. The Uncle Ben.
God
Just
dang it,
all these
Daniel
different
keeps
things. You guys froze again. Okay, there we go.
You're
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
So to wrap those up, for Jeff's sake, it's that there are negatives, but they do not outweigh the positives. And for Dario's sake, they have a lot of good things, but they are not executed well.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good
Right.
way of summarizing it.
So that's pretty much it. So there's that, and
Hey,
yeah, we can
let's
just
be
log off
friends
now.
again. Hey.
so
Yay.
to wrap all that up, I'll give you my summary. I enjoy the movie, but I do see, and that's why I'm in the middle of you guys. I enjoy it, but I do see its negatives, especially watching it recently to do this video. And there's like if I make the conscious decision that I would change a certain thing in a movie, then yeah, there's gonna be things that I dislike about it greatly. That being said, I don't go back to it unless somebody motivates me to do it, like rewatching the movie. And I do have it like on DVD, but I bought it when it first came out and stuff like that. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's like as bad as Airbender, like bad.
No, I'll back away from that. I'll compare it in the way, like I said, but it's not as bad as Airbender.
I'll say it is watchable, and then it does. I think it does the job. It doesn't not necessarily like a good job, but it does its job to be an origin story. Right?
I don't think it's watchable.
And that's okay. Well,
Your
that's
face is not watchable.
Your face is not watchable.
All
Is that what you
right.
said?
So bottom line, yeah, I think it is watchable. I think it's doable, and at least we have Andrew as Spider-Man. For me personally, I like him as Spider-Man, especially with everything else
In
added
this
to
movie?
this movie. Not in this movie. I did enjoy his awkwardness. So there's that.
He's my
But-
favorite Peter, but he's not my favorite Spider-Man. I just want to point
You know
that
what,
out.
Jeff? You're stupid.
It's two different things. No, it's two different things.
No, I know. So that being said, that is the Amazing Spider-Man. And
Can I add one
there
more
you go.
thing?
No, you're done. Your case is done.
No,
Last-
listen. I want to add one more
This jury
thing.
the court is adjourned. That's what the.
I want to add one more thing. You're not a real judge.
Is that what you wanted
You're
to
not
add?
even real.
Good.
No, that's not what I wanted to add.
Dude.
With everything that's been said, I think it's fair to remember the context. Back to what I said. This is 2012.
No,
This is 2012.
no, it's 2022.
They didn't have the knowledge and perspective that we have now after going through so many movies, superhero movies.
I think
And they were influenced by what was hot at the moment, which was Dark Knight Rises. Dark, gritty movies.
they didn't care about making a good movie. And
Nah, bro, you can't say that.
I can say that because I think Andrew Garfield has said that. That's one of the problems he had. I mean, you can ask Andrew Garfield.
He said that after the second movie. After the second movie, it went off the rails.
No, but they didn't. The writing is not great in this movie. Like you have all the aspects of Spider-Man, but it feels like they weren't trying to tell a story. You know, it's like this is what is gonna make money, and if we want to talk about
you
context,
feel like it's a checkbox.
Yeah, it's not like when Kevin Feige came in, who's a fan, or the Russo brothers came in and he's a fan. They're like, oh, we're not just trying to make a movie, we're trying to make a great movie. I don't feel that with this movie. It feels so manufactured. Everything of it. Every single aspect is like, oh, this is what happens in Spider-Man. Let's just put it in. Oh, is it going to be good? no, who cares? And then that's what happened. But I also don't like doing that because we're not taking things like within the times. Because I can say that, you know, Back to the Future was made in 1985, ahead of its time. It's one of my favorite movies. Holds up. I can watch it now. I don't have to think about what kind of time it was made. It's just a good movie on its own.
And also, if you do want to add context, even though it doesn't have the plethora of a universe before it, it does have the influences, which is the Dark Knight trilogy, and they can in making something new, you could see why does that work, and you know, how can we apply it to our movie. And also, you said Avengers, that has a universe behind it, so you can see why does Avengers work. What the hell was that? Anyways, you can see why that works and how we can apply it to this movie. So
yeah. But let's end. Yeah. What do you think, audience? Who is this a good movie? Is this not a good movie? Let us know in the comments below. Yeah.
I think they clocked out when Dario said it's as bad as Airbender.
I don't think anyone made it this far.
Like this video if you like the movie. Comment if you didn't like it, or the other way around. I don't care.
And would you like to see Andrew come back for a third movie?
Yeah. I mean, that's a yes.
That's the conversation. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
No, that's the conversation nowadays.
Under Kevin Feige. Under Kevin Feige.
I don't know. Kevin Feige is phase 4 in the MCU. People are starting to think that Kevin Feige is losing it. I wouldn't completely disagree with that.
That's a whole nother.
I have pushback on that, but that is a whole nother video.
Yeah, that's another episode. Let's wrap it up, guys.
Let's do it. Cut.
Jeff, Jeff.
What? No, you just cut it. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't you just wrap it up?
Yeah.
No. We wrapped up the debate, so just wrap up the pod. Just be like, do the thing, do the outro.
Well, I don't think nobody's still watching, but if you are, thanks for watching. The links are in the description. Obviously, I was right in this video.
We'll see.
Dario is a jerk. Like and subscribe, please.
Not as a jerk. Not as a big jerk as Peter Parker.
This is gonna be a long video.
It is gonna be a long video. Let me tell you, I'm not a hater. I don't like doing this. Next time we'll just do a movie fight. Like, let's fight for movies rather than me just bashing on a movie. Even in a bad movie, I didn't like this. I didn't like it. Okay.
Hater.
I was a hater.
If you like The Amazing Spider-Man, or comment if you don't like The Amazing Spider-Man.
Just comment, share this video. Do you agree? Disagree? Anyway, thanks for watching, and cut.